money, motherfucker? Money be green. Money feel like money. That shit look green to you?
All right, we're gonna move on now to a women's bout on the same card, I believe.
On the same card, yep.
And
the
it's
co-feature, even though it
should be the main event. I think this should be the main event. Let's keep it real here. Jessica McCaskill is a minus 128 straight up on the money line. Well, actually, she's a minus 115 now, so the line has changed. And they have Sandy Ryan as a minus 110. Now, this is interesting because I looked last night on FanDuel, and the line has moved because Sandy Ryan last night at about 11:30 Pacific time was a plus 102. So you know what? Those Europeans are getting into us North Americans' heads right now because Vegas is thinking this one is going to be a lot closer. There's obviously reasons for it. It's also for all the belts at welterweight. This is going to be a great fight. Bryan, how are you betting this one?
It's interesting that Jessica McCaskill has a height disadvantage but a reach advantage because Sandy Ryan has a negative reach, which, you know, I mean, people have overcome that in boxing for years and years and years. Regis Prograis, Roberto Duran, etc. Andre Ward, low key, negative reach also. Didn't know that for a little while there. And then at some point later in his career, I was like, really? That's odd given the way he fights, but sometimes it doesn't matter. I think for Jessica McCaskill, though, 3 losses on her record, all of them to dogs. Shantelle Cameron, Katie Taylor being 2 of them. You know what I mean? Like she's losing to the best of the best only. Sandy Ryan is also very good. I think the line is appropriate. Like this is the
so funny. I don't think you should have used that line for women, but whatever. That's probably like not the line you want to use, but you could have said like beast, like
DAWGS.
Okay? No, I don't know about that, man, because that's more like your homie. You know what I'm saying? Like that's my dog. That's when you use the WG. You know what I'm saying? But you were saying it like they're like I don't know. I had to point that out because I was like, wait a minute.
Are we leaving it in?
We gotta leave that one in. That's too funny to take off. I mean, I like it. Equality at its finest, Bryan.
Yeah. We're progressive over here. And it's Hispanic Heritage Month, so shout out to your boy. So Jessica McCaskill, that had nothing to do with anything. Jessica McCaskill, slight favor here. I like that the line is 50-50. There's another one we'll get to that is pretty close to that because in boxing, you don't get a lot of these, especially for title fights. I am going to roll with Jessica McCaskill. I kind of leaned to Jessica McCaskill winning on points, which I saw at plus 110 last night, but I'm just going to go straight up on the money line because I think she does have enough power to potentially put away Sandy Ryan. I also think Sandy Ryan could win this fight, but I'm just going to roll with Jessica McCaskill. I believe in her ability. I think she'll utilize the reach advantage. I know that she's older. She's about 40 at this point. So 39. Sandy Ryan. Yeah. So Sandy Ryan's going to have the youth advantage here, but I think Jessica McCaskill is going to be able to get to her combos and work the body effectively. Which she's going to have to do against a taller fighter. But I'm leaning on her winning this fight, but I'm going straight up on the money line because while I do think decision is probably the way to bet, it wouldn't surprise me if she were able to get a late stoppage here, which she has done 5 times in her career. She's gotten a few stoppages in her career. Sandy Ryan does not. So the power edge I would give to McCaskill as well. But I think this is a close fight that could honestly go either way because Sandy Ryan is really skilled and worthy of this title shot.
Yeah, this is one of those fights, a sneaky good fight that should be the main event, as Bryan and I were saying. Sandy Ryan had a pretty decorated amateur career as well. When you take a look at her record, not many fights professionally, but a very decorated amateur career. She's very technical. She's skilled. She has good size. She's physical, and she can take a punch. She definitely can, but she has like this like size advantage that I think is going to be apparent in the ring against someone like Jessica McCaskill. But McCaskill, we know how good she is. She has a nice jab. She has that high work rate. She throws good combos. She throws to the body. And when you talk about the experience factor, like these women are older, killing it in boxing, right? So it doesn't necessarily like, I don't even look at that age thing because Amanda Serrano was older. Heather Hardy was older. right? And these girls are still getting it in the ring. I know that Sandy
Katie Taylor, sneaky also.
Exactly. Sandy Ryan's like 30 years old. So even though that she has the youth advantage, sometimes in boxing, I'm going to roll with the experience. And Jessica McCaskill has that. And I think this one goes to the cards. I have Jessica McCaskill winning by decision. I think that's the best bet at plus 110. I just think physically, Sandy Ryan is really tough. And Jessica McCaskill is going to be able to get those points on the scorecard. But Jessica McCaskill, to me, is going to get this victory, and it's going to come down to experience. I do think Sandy Ryan is going to have some moments in this fight, maybe even a moment or two where, you know, she lands a really big one on Jessica McCaskill, but Jessica McCaskill can take a punch. I think this one's going to go down to the wire, and I could see this also being like it's going to be a 10-round bout, a 10-round fight, if I'm not mistaken. So I think it's going to be possibly, when I take a look at it, probably giving the edge here definitely to Jessica McCaskill in terms of winning rounds, but I could see it being like a 1-round difference, a 1 or 2 round difference. I could see this fight being that close. Brian, I know you were looking to see if there was a potential for a draw in this fight. What would the odds be for that?
Plus 1,400.
Okay,
and
wow.
I think if you're going to sprinkle on a draw in a 50-50 fight and get it at plus 1,400, probably worth a couple dollars. And I literally mean a couple of dollars, which would still get you, you know, almost 30. You know, that'll get you like a sandwich in New York City at this point, because goddamn inflation. But yeah, I think a draw might be worth a sprinkle. Jessica McCaskill is plus 950 to win by knockout if you think she's going to get the late stoppage, but I'm just going to roll with her on the money line at minus 115. Sandy Ryan is plus 140 on points, which is interesting because Jessica McCaskill is just plus 110 on points. So what Vegas is telling you is like, hey, whoever wins this, more likely to go on points. But that draw at plus 1,400 is interesting in a fight that's as close as this is expected to be.
So let us know how you're going to be betting on this fight. Are you rolling with Jessica McCaskill or are you rolling with Sandy Ryan? Let us know in the comments below. And remember to drop your bet slips. If you're rolling with Sandy Ryan in this fight and say you take her by knockout or something because the odds are crazy, then show us your slips, because you know, we don't want to go back and forth with you. So we want to see the slips just in case. All right.